Hi, James here from XM2 Store, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing and taking a bit of a look at this new drone that we've just got in. It's the iFlight Titan XL5 HD edition. We've been waiting a while for these. We're pretty excited to check them out. So let's get into it. So I'm going to open this up and see what we've got in here. Turn this around so you guys can see it. So we got a couple of bags of props. The iFlight Nazgul props. Looks like there's 8 props in total, so there's a full set of spares. I've got a couple of bags of accessories. We'll open that up and have a look at that later. And then there's the drone in there that you can see. So it's pretty well packaged. There's foam all around it. It's not going to get damaged in shipping. One thing that's nice is that they haven't shipped it with the props on. A lot of bind and fly, ready to fly drones, they ship it with the props on. But really, you're going to want to take those off anyway to do your safety checks, which is what you should be doing. So it's nice that they're off. It just means you can't use this case as a travel case because you'd have to take the props off every time. Anyway, let's take this thing out and have a look. Here it is. So the first thing that just springs out at me is that it's pretty beefy. It feels really really stiff. These arms are quite thick. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but they're 6mm arms and they're also quite wide. It's by no means a toothpick, so it just feels, you know, super rigid in the hand, and that's pretty cool. There's a GPS in there pre-installed. That's quite nice. I believe it comes fully configured with Betaflight GPS Rescue, so you don't have to go through and set that up yourself, although you should check it before you use it. We've got the DJI HD Air unit in there, and it's going to be quite easy to get to the USB port there. We're going to need that to upgrade the firmware on this before we fly it, and the SD card there for recording your footage. And the motors, what do we got here? We got, these are Zing 2208 1800 kV. So this drone does come in 2 versions. There's a 4S and a 6S. This is the 6S, so it's got 1800 kV, which is going to be plenty of punch for sure. And then on the back here, it's a pretty neat little arrangement. You got your 2 SMA ports for the DJI antennas. Your GPS mounted in there, and I'm pretty sure that is a spot there for the Crossfire Immortal T antenna if you want to install Crossfire on this build, which I'll definitely be doing. We might do a video about that, and it's going to be quite hard to see in there, but there's a little tray in there just under that top plate at the back, and that looks like it's designed to hold the Crossfire Nano receiver, so if you do want to install it, it should be quite easy. Interestingly, it comes with a battery strap on there. It doesn't come with a battery pad installed on the top plate, but we'll see, and probably it's going to come with that. So let's bust open these accessories and see what they give you. So this is just a USB cable for the flight controller. It's USB Type-C, so that'll work with the DJI Air unit, and oh yeah, that's sweet. So the flight controller there, that's got a USB-C as well. And you know, USB-C is just kind of always nice because it's a lot more durable. You can put it in either way. But it's super nice that because you've got the Air unit in here, you're only going to need 1 cable to carry with you, and you'll be able to use that for both parts of your quad for firmware and settings. So that's quite nice. So we got that. Put that aside. Put the drone aside and take a look at this bag of goodies. Alright, let's see what we got in here. So we've got 2 battery grip pads. This feels like pretty sticky stuff, similar that comes with the other iFlight drones. I guess they've provided 2. Let's see where it fits on here. Okay, so it looks like it's just to fit there around those screws standoffs. That's a little bit further back on the top plate, and that's going to allow you to fit your action cam, your GoPro, or your Insta360 up the front there if you want to use that. So the second one is just going to be a spare there. And of course we've got the antennas for the DJI Air unit. These are just the standard antennas that come from DJI, but it is really nice that they've gone with the SMA antennas on the back, the SMA adapters I should say, because it gets the antennas way off the back of the quad there. You can see if I had this is a 6S1300, this is the kind of battery you'd be using. If I had that mounted up there and I'm flying along like that, you can see those antennas are still going to be above the line of the battery, and that makes this almost sort of like a medium range quad, and you could quite easily upgrade the antennas because you got those SMA adapters there. You're not going to need to pull the drone apart to replace the MMCX connectors. You're going to be able to just switch those out, so that's pretty nice. And then, oh yeah, it comes with these SMA grippy 3D printy things, I guess. So those, I believe, are just going to pop over the SMA plugs. That's just a little 3D printed grip thing. When you're taking these on and off every time you fly, the standard SMA is like a little bit hard to hold, so that makes it really nice and easy to screw on and off there. Yeah, so you can see that there, just a little bit of grip for you, but it's a nice touch. So we've got two of those. Then we've got this 3D printed part, I believe, is a camera protector. Let's see how that works. It's just a little TPU, little ring kind of thing, and tight fit. But I guess that means it's not going to come off. Yeah, it's quite tight. You really got to push this on, but now that it's on, you can see that's around the camera, so I guess that's a little bit of protection that if you do fly into like a tree branch or something, that is going to hit before the lens of the camera. There's a little bit of protection from the standoffs, but without this part, the camera lens does protrude forward of the standoffs, so that's going to be definitely going to use that. Then for the other parts, we've got spare battery strap, pretty self-explanatory. Got prop nuts. We've got M3x10 bolts. These are going to be spare bolts for the top plate, so they give you 4 of those. That's nice. Some other spare bolts for the top plate. These little M2 bolts, they're going to be spare bolts for the DJI camera on the side if you lose any of them. Got a few stickers. Now these, I've seen these come with a few iFlight quads. These are little antenna tubes with caps on them. So these are going to be if you wanted to install a Frisky FrSky receiver into this. So in the past, if we've installed like an RXSR for a customer, you can use these, and I'm just trying to see where they go. There we go. So you can see we've got the 2 FPV HD system antennas. And that's all you need if you want to use the DJI goggles and controller. But if you have a Tyrannus or you're using Crossfire, they do provide the options for that. So in my case, I'm going to be using Crossfire, so I'm going to use these holes in the back and I'm going to put my Immortal T antenna in. But if you had a Frisky system with an RXSR, you could fit that into the same tray in there, and you can use these little antenna protectors so that you've got one antenna sticking up each side of the frame. So, you know, not everyone's going to use it, but obviously it costs them nothing, and it's just a nice thing that they throw in to make it easier. You don't have to have cable ties coming off to mount your antennas. So that's pretty nice. And then there's one spare cable that comes in here, and that is going to be the air unit cable. I'll have to look in the manual to check what this does. It should say, but often iFlight provides you with another cable for the air unit if you're not using it as your controller. So I'm presuming this cable might be used if you want to switch to Crossfire, but I need to double check that in the manual before I go go unplugging things. So yeah, that is the iFlight Titan XL5 drone, the HD edition 6S. I'm pretty excited to go and rip this thing around and see how much punch it's got. And the one thing we got to do still is to weigh it. So we'll chuck on the battery pad. We'll chuck on a set of props. We've got our scales here. All right. So we got the drone with the battery pad for 70 grams. Now we're going to just chuck on loosely a set of props. Guaranteed the props are not on the right motors. Please refrain from judging me. And prop nuts. So now we're sitting at 495 grams. And that's everything you'd fly with it without the battery. And if we then chuck on 6S 1300 full send battery, which is a pretty good pair for this, that's at 703 grams now. So as far as 5-inch drones go, it's on the heavy side, but you know, it's 6S. It's beefy, it's got thick arms, so it should be durable to account for that weight and have the power to be able to move it around. So in terms of the pricing, we have these in stock now, quite a lot of them in stock, and they are selling for $456 USD, and that's the bind and fly edition. We do also sell them as a kit with the HD goggles and the controller, and that's a pretty good deal if you don't have anything, you're just getting started. We can also bundle in batteries, so you can always just call the store. And the drone itself, it does not come with a GoPro mount. So if you want to fly an action camera, you can either 3D print something yourself. But iFlight do a very nice 3D printed GoPro mount specifically for the drone. It's an adaptable mount, so it's got this tilting part that mounts onto these standoffs, and this is a standard mount pattern for all the iFlight drones. And then onto that mounts this pretty snazzy looking GoPro mount that comes with a clear filter, which just fell out. But that's going to sit in the front there, or the back here, I believe. So that's going to sit back there behind the lens, but in front of your GoPro lens, and just protect your GoPro a little bit, so that because the GoPro 8 doesn't have a replaceable lens on itself, so it's pretty nice to have that. But this is pretty flexible. It should be quite easy to get a GoPro in and out, and you're definitely going to want to pick up one of these if you want to fly your action camera on the XL5. That's about all we got here to look at. So if you want to get your hands on one of these, come check it out at xm2store.com, and we'll be sharing some flight footage and more in-depth videos with you soon. Thanks.